Hello everyone, thanks for tuning in to today's second video, to the extended European outlook for today's second video. So as also on Tuesday, we're having a look at the weather for the next 30/46 days across Europe, and I shall get on that for you in a moment. Just to say that first video release today was our 6/7 UK weather forecast. Got a 10 to 14 day with all of regular features coming up for you this afternoon as well. So please like, share and subscribe on all today's videos and content, and thank you so much everyone for doing that. Thank you so much to ECMWF.INT for supplying the charts as well, by the way. Thank you so much, EC. Right, going to start off with the week 1 mean sea level pressure anomaly for Europe. So we've got a big blocking area of high pressure still sitting to the north and to the northeast of Europe. Trough of low pressure is over on the east side of Europe and coming in from off the Atlantic into the western side of Europe as well. So it's a bit of a messy picture. There's also some blocking around Iceland. Bit of a messy picture, quite a lot going on. But basically, we're keeping it, I think, pretty mild into west of Europe. Possibly this trough of low pressure will bring some cooler air. We'll have a look at that in a moment. 500 millibar height just shows quite a large ridge, really, covering many parts of Europe. We know from mean sea level pressure anomaly, it's not quite that straightforward. So the temperature anomaly is actually colder than average, excuse me, in extreme north and northeast of Europe. Again, those essential northern parts of Scandinavia, Nordic regions into the northwest of Russia. Otherwise, it's a very mild scene. That trough of low pressure in the southeast Europe not really yielding anything particularly in the way of cooler conditions. So right way from the west of Europe, Ireland, Portugal in the west, all the way over the Black Sea in the east of Europe. Most parts are looking milder or above average, particularly mild through southern parts of Germany, down towards the Alpine regions, excuse me, and then again south of the Black Sea, in towards parts of Turkey. In these areas, we see temperature at around 6 to 10 degrees above average, but widely sort of 3 to 6 degrees above average across most parts of Europe. So a very, very, very mild scene. Precipitation-wise, it looks like that. So largely dry and average down through the Mediterranean. Lots of dry weather through Spain, Portugal, into the central Baltic Med, towards Italy, over the Adriatic, in towards the Balkans as well. Greece to Turkey, a little bit wetter than average there. The extreme north of Europe as well, looking a little bit drier than average too. In between, though, we have a wetter swathe, and that's through Ireland, the UK. Let's get rid of all those lines. That's through Ireland, the UK, and down to France, and then eastwards through many parts of the Low Countries, Belgium, Holland, Netherlands, in towards northern parts of Germany and Poland, up to Denmark in particular, and then southern parts of Norway, Sweden, over Baltic Sea, in towards the Baltic Sea states of Latvia, Estonia and Lithuania, and then down this eastern side of Europe. Of course, the further north you go, the greater the chance of snow, even with those rather above average temperature anomalies. So with nice, warm conditions down in the Med, and largely dry and average conditions too. If you want to go and get a little bit of winter sunshine down in the Balearic Islands or Corsica, Sardinia, something like that, then pretty good week to do that, I think. Week 2 will be the 19th to the 26th of February. Bit of a change in this week. High pressure starts to pull out to the west of the UK and Ireland. Trough of low pressure is in over Scandinavia. That could bring the jet stream of wind flow direction of the northwest, southeast. A bit of low pressure starting to appear into the central bowl of the Med as well, around Italy. 500 millibar heights looking like that. So again, we've got the ridge up above average heights, higher pressure through the Atlantic going up towards Greenland and Iceland. Trough of low pressure across the far northeast of Europe, and that low could be extending down through some central parts of Europe as well, perhaps. Temperature anomalies are still largely above average in many areas, not as warm as it is in week 1, or as mild as it is in week 1, but nevertheless, most places still coming out rather above average. The core of the mild conditions look like they're shifting to more central eastern parts of Europe, so anywhere from like Germany eastwards to the Black Sea, looking largely above average. It's still a bit above average in the West Europe, but closer to normal there, more of a northwesterly type flow. I think just bringing in some slight cooler air from the North Atlantic, maybe. And then the far north and northeast of Europe, it's turning milder there, particularly through Norway and in towards Sweden. The cold the cold conditions retreating back to the far northwest of Russia then. And as far as precipitation is concerned, it looks like this. So the north and west are going to drive an average with that ridge of high pressure starting to block off the Atlantic. A little bit above average for precipitation through southern parts of Germany, and particularly down in towards Italy and through the central bowl of the Med. So might be some heavy showers and thunderstorms starting to break out through there. And we go towards the eastern part of Europe, and we've got weak signals really, average or no signal, a little bit on the drier side perhaps, into the far west of Russia and into far north of Scandinavia as well then. Week 3 is going to be the 26th of February to the 4th of March. Signs of a change this week with higher pressure, or weak high pressure in the Atlantic, trough of low pressure across the north of Europe. Now, you could be putting in some colder air into the north and the west of Europe there maybe. Let's have a look at the 500 millibar height. So that looks indicative of some colder conditions into the beginning of March with a trough of low pressure through the north and west of Europe combined with a ridge out in the Atlantic. That could get wind into a colder northerly then. Temperature anomalies look like that started to go colder again across the north. So we see Scandinavia and Nordic regions, so that's Denmark, Norway, Sweden, possibly to Finland as well, starting to go colder once more. We're losing the above average temperatures in most areas though, so the mildest temperatures over in the extreme east of Europe and just out to the west of the UK and Ireland, but most other places the average temperatures or no signal, still a little bit above average in the central bowl of the Med, but that might be more down to warm sea surface temperatures than anything else. Looks like there's a bit of a cool down going on, I think, into the third week. And precipitation wise, we see above average precipitation right the way from the Low Countries all the way over to western parts of Germany. Of course, as it's getting colder, some of that could be falling astir, especially across more northern regions. Now, in the west, we've got near normal precipitation beds, so Ireland, the UK, coming out close to average, maybe a little bit on the drier side, if anything, close to that high pressure in the Atlantic. And we've also got Spain and Portugal, a little bit on the drier side. So drier in the western portion of the bed, wetter in the eastern portion of the bed, particularly through Greece and into Turkey as well. And then week 4 will be before to the 11th of March, and we find the mean solar pressure anomaly showing low pressures generally across the west of Europe, really. 500 millibar heights look like that. So again, there's some sort of ridge in the Atlantic going up to southern parts of Greenland, trough of low pressure towards the UK and Ireland, then a ridge over on the eastern side of Europe. So you'd expect this ridge in the east of Europe to be bringing up like a southerly flow. In the west of Europe, probably more of an Atlantic flow, though, if anything, due to the position of that trough of low pressure. It's a long way off, though, this, but temperature anomalies are picking up again into week 4, so going widely above average in most parts of Europe, except through Norway and Sweden, and also parts of Scotland as well, closer to average through there. But it looks like there's a warm-up going on into the 4th week, and as far as precipitation is concerned, so we see wetter than average conditions through the north and the west of Europe as low pressure starts turbling back into the southwest again. We go wetter in the western part of Europe and into northern Europe as well. Eastern parts of Europe looking close to average or having no signal. Right, that's the 30-day look ahead done, but let's go through weeks 5 and 6 data before we go. So week 5 will be the 11th to the 18th of March. This time we have low pressure setting up to our south and a blocking area of high pressure around Greenland and Iceland. You might think that could get wind into more of an easterly there through the middle part of March. The 500 millibar heights, again that trough of low pressure, it's a very small trough, but a trough of low pressure just west of UK and Ireland probably keeps wind in from a southwest boat, if anything. Blocking signals increasing to the north and a ridge still there over on the eastern side of Europe. The temperature anomaly, I should say, looking generally mild and average across most parts of Europe, and the precipitation anomaly very weak signal by this point, but if anything still probably on the wetter side, if anything, through northern and western parts of Europe. And then finally week 6 will be the 18th to the 25th of March. Again, we see low pressure in control across much of Europe. So similar to last year, it looks like this could be quite an unsettled March, quite a low pressure dominated March. Blocking area of high pressure up towards Greenland and Iceland. 500 millibar heights look like that. So again, we strengthen the blocking signal in the North Atlantic, have a trough of low somewhere close to the west of Europe. Temperature anomaly cools back down again in the north and west anyway, still significantly above average central and eastern regions. And as far as precipitation is concerned, again, it's largely above average, well, sort of average above average through the north and the west of Europe. No, yeah, it looks like it could be for quite a wet March. We had a very wet March last year, of course. It's the wettest March last year since 1981. It looks like we might be going to do that again this year. Maybe not quite to the same extent as last year, but it does look as though the unsettled weather that we've had for months and months and months now is set to go on. And you'll notice the ECM has really toned down the blocking signals that it's been showing over the past few weeks and months. So the ECM has been regularly showing high latitude blocking, large amounts of northern blocking. It has really backed off that a lot now. So very poor performance, I think, from the EC 46 day this year in terms of overdoing the blocking signal and the cold signal as well. So it just goes to show, any forecasters, as I always say, beyond 5-7 days comes with big health warnings and large pinches of salt attacks. Therefore, what it's showing on this update, beyond sort of weeks 1 and 2 anyway, again, we need to take that with a large portion of salt. Right, so we're going to be back later on with your 14 day, which will include all our regular features. We'll bring you up to date with all the latest stratospheric developments with that one as well. So check back later for that. So this week's 30-day forecast for the UK and rest of Europe as well. That's all for now, and thanks for watching.